All right. It's indeed a very, very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us at this edition of Tackle. It is the 17th of August 2022. Tarehe ni 17 mwezi wa 8 mwaka 2022. Natumai ya kwamba uko salama and you ready to join us this morning the Tackle edition of the Siasa Wednesday of 17 August 2022. We just from the general elections and I can see Kenyans watu wametulia. Utaniambia pia report pale kwenu kunakaa vipi wherever you are. Lakini kama kawaida lazima tuende mbele za Mungu tuombe, halafu basi tukirudi na kuja kuona salama zenu. Mighty Father, we come before you this morning. We worship you, glorify your name. We thank you, Father, for this opportunity given us. We thank you for the country given us. We thank you for the just concluded elections. We thank you also for the peace that we enjoy, that we've woken up and we've been able to do what we've been doing every single day. Even as we transition, we pray that you're going to be with us for every tackler who's joining us this morning. We meet them at that point of individual needs. We pray, trusting and believing. Amen. Haya, tuko na ARNOLD MALIBA. Tuko na Mheshimiwa ARNOLD MALIBA hapa. He'll also be helping us get a perspective of what has been going on. Kumekuwa na hesabu ngumu sana ambayo imefanywa tangu jana 0.1 of many millions. Kumbe kuna hesabu alafu kuna mathematics. There is mathematics and then there is mathematics. Kuna hesabu alafu kuna hesabu ambayo ieleweki ni gani. Tutasalia pia kutuambia what is the correct answer. ARNOLD MALIBA, good morning.
Good morning, Jera. How are you?
Mambo?
Niko salama. Yeah.
So which is which?
You voted well?
I voted well. You actually voted twice.
Why did you vote twice?
Why should I not vote twice? Anyway, this is for my grandma, who is old.
Okay.
Yeah. Every vote counts, and then this is mine.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, did you vote?
Yes, I did. I voted for myself, even though I didn't get the seat that I voted myself for.
At least you got your vote.
But no, this is Kenya. You don't lose elections.
Yes.
You ni ile kura itoshi. Ule mwenye kura yake inatosha ndiye anapewa kiti. So that's what happened in the Great North. Happy I will not dwell on time with the irregularities and everything else. An operation of the elections level is quite huge. You can never have everything going the way you want.
Yes.
Yeah, and also if you dwell to those nitty-gritties and details, sometimes you might never get to move on.
That's true.
But then there's something about life. It moves on.
Life in a song.
Yeah, life goes on.
It keeps moving, yes.
Yeah. So,
but I think you should not. I think you should not beat yourself, because I usually say the first step of winning is daring. You know, and I have a lot of respect for people who dare. I have a lot of respect for people who desire to do something, especially leadership. You know, people really underestimate what politics is all about. And that's why even for people who lose elections, I have a lot of respect for them, because they tried. So don't beat yourself so much. I know you wanted to lead the people of the Great North, you know, but they spoke a different voice, and you'll try again. Your first win was you trying. And I'm sure if you try again, you'll get it. Yeah.
You know, you get into politics, and of course you get all manner of stuff. And it's easy. Of course, spectators have always been the best players in every game, actually. And politics is no different. But then, of course, when we get into politics, we understand that there are two outcomes, two possible outcomes. Yes. You win or you lose. And in politics, there's no number two. Number two is actually the first loser. So you get in and you move on. Whatever way we try to look at it, you go play, come back and then try again. Actually, what I was speaking about was the element of dwelling on to the other small things that happen in the process. You dwell on that, and then you're not going to move on, even with your own life. Yeah, and if you walk the corridors of life, of course, talking about the misfortunes you've met, you likely are not going to get people even listen to you. Because on the first instance, people listen to you. On the second instance, you become an irritation. Yeah, you're irritating. Soon you will be all over chorusing, and people are like, okay, this one looks like he's mad. So that's why I actually said, you go in, fight, come out, and then move on. Yeah.
Okay, move on with life. Yeah. All right, hesabu ni gani? Which one is correct? The correct answer. 0.01 times 14 million. December is equals to OPEC. What is the right answer? What is the right answer?
I think all of us worked out the mathematics, and I don't know why we are even disturbing ourselves working around this math when you can easily look at it from the percentages as offered in the outcome. What is Wajakoya's 0.22% equal to? It's about he's about 39,000, right? So you just need to look at let me just check out for you. You just need to look at how Wajakoya actually played it out, and you get to know. As in, you look at Mwaura's percentage, you look at Wajakoya's percentage, and then you can easily work out the 0.01%. I think for me, I looked at the 4 commissioners, and I'm a little bit worried. Imagine these are the people who actually are going to remain in the commission when Chebukati, Gulie, and Molu leave. I'm actually worried, totally worried. I looked at the vice chair. She doesn't even know. She doesn't even look like she did the statement herself. Looks like it was done by somebody else. There was a joke somewhere that the statement might have been done by a lawyer. No, it's lawyers who don't. Wakili hawajui hesabu sana.
Wanadunga tu ile hesabu inakuja.
Yeah, hiyo kama statement iliandikwa na wakili. Hawajuagi hesabu. I'm never good at it. That was the joke going around. Looking at how they came off doing the whole thing, we thought they actually had a very serious statement, but it looks like it's a blot. You know, like the whole rest of us, including the people they were to speak in support of, started making fun of them. I am worried at the quality of the commissioners. You know, away from the jokes about the mathematics and everything else, I think every one of us should actually have a cause to worry if those 4 guys are actually the people who are going to remain in as the senior most people in charge of policy, in charge of administration, the general leadership of the commission. Madam Vice Chair does not inspire confidence. She doesn't just come off like somebody who understands why she's there. I looked at Wanderi, and all the time he looked like he had been forced to be there. They couldn't even put themselves together.
There's no chemistry.
There's just something wrong with those 4 guys. Again, even Irene Masit, who all of us knew her for brilliance initially, she was there, and of course, all the time she treated everything nil by mouth, said nothing. She just brought herself, and she was there. Something about those 4 guys is just off. Their statement actually is the testimony that they are doing it for some other reason other than the truth. Because when they spoke on Tuesday or on Monday, they said, and the vice chair said that they congratulated everybody, said IBC had done very open, transparent, and everything went well, except at the last point. We saw these guys during verification. There was no issue. They raised it.
Yes.
So
during the whole process,
and from where I see it, if the results in Form 34A are final, as is in law, Form 34B, which is just the collation of the forms from 34A, or rather in the constituency, or rather the Form 34B being the collation of the A's, you then start to look at it from this end, that once you have filled Form 34A, then Form 34B stands generated. If there's anything that is actually in Form 34A, it's actually you just need to rework around that from, as in from 34B. So the same way, they were verifying Form 34As and Bs, right? So it meant automatically that Form 34C stood generated. And then Form 34D, the certificate that is given to whoever wins, was automatically going to come out of that. So that was basic. If there is any place that has got issues, it would be Form 34A. And even IBC itself cannot change the results. So what else? They do not have their own tally that is the correct one. They are disputing this one. They do not have a tally of their own.
Alternative numbers.
They also cannot say if the current tabulation violates Form 34A. They don't. They have no problem with the Form 34As that are in the public portal. So why exactly, those guys are rebels without a cause. Why exactly are they causing a problem? They have no results of their own. They have no violation. They're talking about opaqueness. They cannot be vague. You know, when they talk about opaque, when they themselves are actually opaque, as in their statement is vague. Leave alone the mathematical error. For so many of these people, mathematics was actually optional, as much as it was on the timetable and showed up most times. But then, of course, even from the error they made, you saw Mheshimiwa Babu Wino trying to justify that. He brought down whatever he had tried to work around, and he even said his admin had failed. Well, of course, for Mheshimiwa, you will always have somebody to blame. So, for those 4 guys, you know, let me tell you something that happened. A friend of mine told me that she was seated and her children were watching when they actually showed up. And when the vice chair started speaking, her children started crying in the house. They just saw her burning the country. You know, we are not going to run away from the fact that what those 4 commissioners did was tantamount to incitement to violence. When the nation was actually glued, if they had a real cause, a real reason, you know, everybody else saw the nation being torn apart. And then when they follow up the following day, they come up with a statement that just doesn't make sense. They don't know what they are saying. They are making errors that are generally, as in, if these guys cannot get it right or on such a level, what else are they actually going to, what else have they even gotten in error? So, the lesser, as in the faster we forget about these 4 guys, the better. Actually, these guys need to offer their resignation and leave the commission.
Okay. You think that's the way to go forward, right?
If you do not agree, and you know this is the chairman. By the way, whatever Chebukati did, I don't want to go to law. Kenyans have actually looked at the laws and everything else. This was not an administrative issue. This was not a policy issue. This was a constitutional process. An Article 138 function that Chebukati was actually playing out. And in their hands, playing around there, or rather supporting the chairman, they are supporting him as the commission. The chairman does not act. Even the office of the chairman of the commission does not stand in isolation of the commission. He is the chairman of the commission. As the presidential returning officer, he was playing his role. He didn't do anything out of that. Did they want to vote over our vote? Who even told these guys they have got such power? That somehow the commissioners thought that they had power to vote over our vote. I think anyone who cites and even looks at the commission as anything that you're going to go with to court, then I think I am afraid you actually are setting up yourself for not just failure, but embarrassment. Because those 4 commissioners are an embarrassment, not just to the commission, but to our country. As in, is that the best we could get? As in, all of us agree that Chebukati was actually platinum. The Chebukati of 2022 was platinum. Other than when he was roughed up and beaten up at Bomas, that also needs to be actually taken care of. Because how do you expect that at a national platform, when the international world is watching, people went out and roughed up the chairperson of the Electoral Commission? And they go out scot-free. Ledama should not go scot-free. Unless we just want to normalize impunity. If he had issues, he had all channels of redress. But he chose violence. He should not. I even wonder. The other question that people do not want to actually issues that people don't want to speak to is this. What did the IG do? You know, in this country, Gerald, you just need to do makosa kidogo hapa hivi utatumia mpaka anti-terror squad. But a national strategic event like what was at Bomas, you allow people to get around there, the chairman to be roughed around hapo kwingine. Chairman anakimbia kama swara. Wanakimbiza Chebukati kama swara. Bomas, and we are watching, the whole world was watching. That embarrassment, the IG needs to step down. The officer in charge of that particular operation, he deserves no praise. How do you allow the chairman? And of course, the diplomats are seated, the whole world. And you know, Kenya is actually a very special kid. He's actually a blue-eyed boy in Africa in the first place. Alafu watu wanafukuza chairman kama swara. Like a villager. As in, what was that? How do we even see that and we feel normal about that? That cannot be accepted. As in, we cannot. Whether the results have issues or not, what we saw at Bomas is an impunity that should not be allowed. Both Orengo, both Ledama, and any other person that was actually part of the process. That is actually captured on video. We have not seen DCI do anything else. They have not actually questioned Ledama. They have not brought in Orengo. They have not taken, even identified. And everybody who got to Bomas had been identified. And even they have badges. So we have got video footage, we have got all that, but no one has actually taken action against those, the people who took violence to Bomas. That cannot actually go scot-free. Because there was a verification process that turned into a forensic audit. What exactly happened? You cannot beat the person of Chebokati before his children, before the whole nation, before the whole world, and then go scot-free. That we cannot, as in we can't just sit back. Everybody that participated in the melee that was at Bomas, the violence that was meted on the chairman, there is a commissioner in hospital, the CEO was injured. And we are not going to actually take action against that? What are we waiting for?
Good question. All right, we are going to, when we get back, when we get back, we are going to look at a video that came in, a very interesting clip that I stumbled on this morning. Munga Lita continue. Good morning to you, Emmanuel Saram. Good morning, GB. Good morning to my brother, Alison Chesere. Good morning to you, Sir Johnson Coed. Good morning, Emmanuel Saram. Sema tukunywe chai weekend. Nipo baba, leta chai tukunywe. Collins, Mr. CK. Good morning, Jared and the tackle team. Good morning to my brother, Jane. Good morning to you, Jane. Masi Kioga. Good morning, Captain Sang. Good morning, Kenya. Let's maintain the good relations within us. Shango Kibletin. Good morning from Seoul, Korea. All is well. Welcome back. Opeg Manenos. Hi, Paul Kyogo. Good morning, GB. Good morning to you, Florence Barry. Good morning to you, my brother. Just as to my good morning. Gerald, give us the correct answer. Hata mimi nilipita sababu nilisikia kama fununu. Nilikuwa napita nikasikia mathematics ile mtatasaidia ni Arnold. Haya, Kevin Choma sema ngoma na kwetu connect na Santa version of okay. Nake. What the hell is this? Okay. So Fidel, morning, Jerry, good morning to you. Julia Cesar, wachana hiyo ukarabati yako hiyo. You know very well that we didn't hype anything. Honorable Jules, Farewell, good morning. We are peaceful and Kenyans are back to their assholes. I lost also in my ward Kilimani, but 2027 is not far. Kabisa, baba. We will live to fight another day, so don't give up. Paul Beto Mozana, thank you so much, GB. Let's call for the updates throughout the elections days. You have done us proud, people of Moiben, to see this media having all the odds, braving all the odds. Asante sana. Lawrence Kigen Kiblagat, good morning, Bitoko. We are up and running, building the nation is peaceful. Asante sana. Niambe mambo, madu lipo mambo iko vipi. Whenever you are out, are things looking like? So Fedin, asante. Moi Kamau, great conversation. Thank you so much. Lopesa, keep lead watching from Boisambu. Asante Wasaya Watsia. Omwana amesema they are rebels without a cause. Yes. Sharon Kitu watching from Nandi County, Kenya is bigger than all of us. Peace. Asante sana Sharon. Lopesa anasema I don't agree with you on this. Mambo Mbotela watching from Maseno. Asante. David Kamau, good morning GB, great conversation. Asante sana. Nani Sharon anasema not true. Anyway, to get your facts right, it's time to heal and move on. Asante sana Sharon for that. Akikure Mutai, who is the OPEC for? Who is the OPEC for representing? Are they talking on behalf of Azimio themselves or IBC? Okay, good question. Kimngetich, good morning. Good morning to Maina Wanjogi. Good morning. GB Salam from Diaspora New Jersey. Asante sana watu wangu wa Diaspora New Jersey. Pote sana Maina Wanjogi. Zach Kayatich, good morning to my brother Haizo Mwacha Ibro, Sema Ibro watching from Doha. Asante. Kangwana Junior, good morning to my brother. Good morning, I'm Happy Man from Medwin Barasa. Thank you. So Gomel, the guy is spitting wisdom. Kudos to Professor Asante. Patrick Wamaria, there is a problem with your sound in Angorota. Please check. Okay. Right. Machandangalia. Okay. Stano Wayne sasa mtuko ndani, sound cracking please. Okay, let me check on that. Good morning Arnold said well Kipro, Birmingham, Alabama. Good to see you. Faraji, good morning team. Good morning to you my brother. Joseph Makumi, Munga governor. Yeah, because just fear the Azimio chairman not to bribe the Supreme Court judge. All these shenanigans is being sponsored by Azimio chairman, starting Serena Hotel press conference, bombers and rejection of presidential resource. Okay, Mogote Junior, good morning Gerald. Our commissioners were glueless. Okay, Raymond K. Sang is like that. Okay, Kiptoa Jaffet, good morning sir. Bado nafanya hesabu ya 0.01%. Ukipata jibu niambie. Kevin Opio, this is Reuters Media. Is it? Thank you. If it is, then it means it's a big media, it's presidential media. Okay. Kiptoke vita chairman alikimbia kweli kweli. Mulitesa chairman jamani. Okay. Edna Soti anasema good morning Gerald, this guy has talked like a million men. Lamoria Bernard Lamoria from Lokitang Turkana, Santa Fe Faraji, we are peaceful. Yes, let's keep peace. Tuweke amani. Duncan keep Kemai, have you taken any step to talk to IG? We should reach out to him atuambie vile Arnold amesema chama akikimbizwa kama Zwara alikuwa wapi. Bueno studio, good morning bro, getting a lot of clear from Nakuru, kazi safi, asante sana Viniki Mtai. Good morning GDCI ni Azimio tule Damasaga was planned. Haya, Boni Wambogo, good work Bitok, ulitusaidia sana, your telling was on point, asante sana. Patrick Njagi, a deliberate weakness was caused on the platform of Chebukati for Azimio to penetrate. Elichokwema, Arnold always level headed, great listening to him. All right, asante sana. Sophie, good morning, following from Nyeri, peace. And by the way, for those guys who are saying, are they aware that first of all you are in Azimio? You need to let them know that.
I am in Azimio myself. Yes. I actually ran on DAP. I voted for Baba. I will still vote for Baba again if there was a rerun. But you see, we cannot be. This habit in Azimio spaces where you do not question anything. People have led on Baba into this charade. We've kept quiet. From Wednesday evening, anyone with a little bit, even a level of a P of a brain, if you had a P-sized brain, that you can actually go to the portal and looked at all other things, even just looking at the exit polls, we already were sure that the numbers were going in the wrong direction. But every time we asked these questions about how are things going on, for example, we've not paid our agents up to now. We didn't have agents everywhere. But if you point out that, then people are actually asking, people are saying that you are fighting Baba. Baba was supposed to have agents in all places. The people who were responsible for that thing, what did they do? And by the way, you don't need to struggle. Just go to the portal, see how many forms, random forms, do not have agent signatures. The presidential signature, the presidential agent signature, UDA literally has got a signature on almost all of them. Of course, there are a few that are missing. But I can tell you what is almost a norm and not an exception is that a number of our forms, Form 34S, do not have agents. They didn't sign against them. And people will come up with all the excuses. This is the order of counting ballot papers after the closing of the polling station. Number one, you do the presidential counting. You count the presidential votes, then count the member of National Assembly, then do the MCA, then do the senator, then the women rep, and then the governor is the last one. Yet, even being the first one, we didn't have agents everywhere. They kept on telling us all manner of Majitu stories. You see, this was an election. It was not witchcraft. We were not in a circus, where people were being told, we were told all manner of things. Let me just tell you some of the things that kept our people charged and hoping. And leading people on to something that does not exist is actually wrong, because everyone out there, and there are millions of Azimio people who are looking at some of these people. I can tell you some of the funny things we were told. We were told that Chebukati's wife had been given the results to read. that somehow Chebukati had been told, Chebukati's wife had been given results na akaambiwa upatie bwana yako asome. We were told that it had been decided that there would be no results read at Bomas if it's not anything that actually is in favor of Baba. Let me tell you more than that. On Saturday night, we were told that NIS had actually penetrated the system, the IBC system, in favor of Baba. And they actually had put in new Form 34As. When we asked if they've actually then penetrated and put in new Form 34As, have they also gone to all those other phones that took these photos at stay? As in all tens of thousands of phones that took photos in polling stations after the counting. Have they also infiltrated that and done that? Even CIA does not have such capacity. We were told we don't understand how things work. We were told these things were going to work somehow. And even a few minutes even before that at Bomas, we were told Baba is waiting anakuja huko kwingine. Why lead us as on when you know things are bad? And anyone, by the way, by the time we go to Sunday, you just needed to tabulate from 34 Bs because hizo ni kidogo. They're just 292, as in the 290 constituencies, then the prisons, and then the diaspora. All of them, if we were to look at those two as constituencies. We cannot be a people who are so good in storytelling. Elections is about work. It's about facts. People woke up in the morning. Why then didn't Baba supporters, just sit at home and say, NIS will actually vote on our behalf, for example. The deep state will vote on our behalf, for example. The people who bungled Baba's victory, and Baba has been defeated by a mere 233,000 votes. And I can even locate for you where those votes came from. The only constituency that used to be Baba that was flipped was Bungoma. This election was won and lost in Bungoma. This election was won and lost on turnout. There were over 400,000 people in Nyanza alone who didn't vote.
Wow.
There were over 700,000 people in Western Kenya who didn't vote. The traditional Baba vote basket. So we are talking over in the traditional Baba backyard, Nyanza and Western. You have got over 1 million people who didn't vote. Yet Baba is losing with a mere 233,000 votes. These people told us they had watertight Go TV, the get out the voter strategy. So, you know, we are not here to be galed by tales on social media. We are not here to be encouraged and told Majitu stories. We were kids, yes, we had Majitu stories and everything else. And we know that when it comes to such like an operation, we are not going to believe on things like witchcraft. You know, when you see how, for example, let me give you what I call witchcraft. If 0.2% that Wajakoya gets is 39,000 votes, how then is 0.01%? 147,000. You need to actually look at that and even ask that question. So, the people who were handling Baba's campaign did a lot of games along the way. We came, and by the way, we actually need to give credit to President Uhuru Kenyatta. President Uhuru Kenyatta did heavy lifting of this campaign. Otherwise, if President Uhuru Kenyatta and the people on that other side did not do heavy lifting, we would have lost by a lot. In Trump's language, we will probably have lost by millions and millions. The final bit of it, we can't just push in. But even as Baba pursues constitutional and legal channels, because he's actually aggrieved, we should also do a purge in our house. The people who let down Baba yesterday were seated at KICC, listening in and looking somber and solemn. Yet they are the people who actually ensured that Baba lost. How do we lose by a mere 233,000 when we have got millions of people who didn't turn up to vote? The voter turnout is still there. We will still have done that. As in, there was no business with Nyanza, for example, having an 82% voter turnout. When Central, normally when they are chasing something, they do from 87 going upwards. What stopped our people voting, coming out? So we can go round and round and round, but Article Form 34A is there. And if you have got an issue, you tally, put it in an error form, and you can actually go to court with it. But is that sufficient to earn us a victory? You cannot be giving us a heart attack every time, giving us strokes, stressing our parents in the village. People are so sad out there, and then we are out here doing these jokes and going around. And when you ask and raise these issues, you are told we're in a mall. People cannot run away from their responsibilities and accountability by calling others malls. These questions we ask, the questions of accountability, the questions where people must take responsibility must be asked. We are not going to run away from that. How do we even fix this? We have had this going on, and you saw them. We are going to bomb us. Everything is okay. We will be declared. And you're like, where will we be declared from? From 34As are here. They say contrary. From 34Bs are here. They say to the contrary. They turned bombers into a forensic audit hall. It wasn't verification. It was a forensic audit. And then they are here now coming with all manner of stuff. People must actually save us the crap and just accept that the people we gave the responsibility to do lost it. Even stakeholder management. How did we lose Wetangula, for example? You know, I can tell you 100%. The only outlier, if you look at all the data, the elections data, the only outlier is Bungoma. That is one we flipped. And with it comes with there is an extra about 246,000 votes that is flipped. Here, we lose by 233,000. So it is Wetangula who actually cost us this election. This election was won and lost in Bungoma. But if you tell our people here, they will actually tell you how those guys, watu ni kupe, walikuwa na hang tu kwa koti na hizo vitu zingine zote. we never want to sit back and just speak the truth to ourselves. But do you see, out there, every true supporter of Baba must ask these hard questions. How do you lose when you had the state support? How do you lose when you had the sitting president support you? How do you lose even with the resources that we had at our disposal? How do you lose when everything? How do we even lose? For example, let me ask you, how did we lose Nairobi?
To Sakaja.
Yeah, how did we lose to Sakaja? When Nairobi is traditionally Baba's stronghold, ukiongeza uhuru kidogo umebeba hii Nairobi yote. How did we lose that? The first indicator that we were losing the presidency was Sakaja.
Okay.
So, and when you ask these questions, you raise these issues, people want to tell you, oh, you people are running away, you are turning away. We are not going to clap for mediocrity. We are not going to sit back and just allow you to actually escape without answering questions. Everybody else, but there's going to be a justice, a truth, justice, and reconciliation process in Azimio. We will deal with everyone else that ensured that we lost. We are going to deal with these people who have messed up and bungled up this election, and now wanaanza kizungu mingi na kufanya hapa shortcut na hizo vitu zingine zote. Mall concept, the real malls are the people who cost us this election. The real malls are the ones who ensured that we lost by 233,000 when we had millions of people at home. Those are the malls in Azimio. And by the way, either Baba cracks the whip or we, his supporters, will crack the whip. Yeah. We will not just sit here and allow people. We cannot. Ebu nikuulize, tuibiwe 1997. But then since I became an adult in 2000s, I have never voted for any other person. I have voted for Baba exclusively. In 1990, in 2007 tumeibiwa, in 2013 tuibiwe, in 2017 tuibiwe, in 2022 tuibiwe. Really? And we want to sit here and look like it's normal. Hiyo mchezo ndio tuwaje. Hiyo wimbo hiyo ya kuibiwa hiyo, no, hatuwezi kubali hiyo. Just do an analysis of the data. See the places where we left, we dropped.
So kuibiwa.
From where I sit, an election is a massive operation. You will have those small mistakes here and there. They happen on both ends. But what was the voter turnout in the coast? It's a Baba stronghold. What was the voter turnout in Eastern, where Kalonzo comes from? What was the voter turnout in Western? Nyanza, of course, did their best. But what was the voter turnout? Was that the best we could do? That's not the best we could do. So, from where, just do an analysis of the data. Let us not even struggle na hizi vitu zingine zote. We are now going around and creating all manner of stuff. A commissioner, actually, I think it's one of these four, was at Bomas. He spoke about, he misspoke, and instead of saying 41,000, he said 51. And he quickly corrected that. We stuck on that, cleaning on straws. And we spread that everywhere as a, oh, umeona tumepata 10,000. I remember somebody told me, probably you know that space, somebody told me that, and you know, by Sunday we already had projected that we had a gap of about 300,000. Those people who really care, because if you're going to support a candidate, you must actually put in your head. We had projected that there was a gap of 300 votes. Somebody even told me that already tushapata 150,000 votes. Sasa zimebakisha 150 tujaze. So I asked, hizi 150,000 zenye mmepata wapi? When the law says that the results at the polling stations, what is filling from 34A is final. You cannot get votes along the way. Hizi 150 tumetoa wapi? Ukiuliza hapo naambiwa wewe uelewi. And I'm not a child. I have been in this system for a very long time. I have worked locally, regionally, and internationally. I am not new to elections. I am not new to backroom workings. I am not new to politics. I'm not even new to political parties. So you ask these questions, alafu watu wanaanza kwenda around, oh, you are not loyal, oh, you are running around. We cannot be failing Baba every day. And when we ask these questions, munaitwa malls, you cannot weaponize mall concept just for purposes of running away from responsibility and accountability. People must account for what they did. It's time we asked, what did they do with the resources? Did they deploy the agents? Have we paid our agents? Did we even have our own tallying center? What was our what witchcraft people were putting online? You know, there are numbers.
So did you have a tallying center? That's the question.
I was not working at Azimia, I was running. I just want to know that did we have a tallying center? Did we have our own results? Do they correspond with what is in the polling in the public portal? What in the public portal is wrong? Just the same way we asked these commissioners. Do you agree with forms 34As that are in the portal. Did what Chebukati announced, is it different from that particular end? And then when you ask this, you know that even the DP has got a lot of problem. He has got so many people to reward. So we are not asking these questions and speaking this way because we hope that we will be received on the other side. He has got so many people to reward. He even doesn't know. He has got much of a bigger problem than we who are asking questions here. The government is only but limited. You can't have endless space. So when we ask these questions, we are asking questions for accountability. We want to know what went wrong. That answer is what the merchants of influence around Baba, the people who are duty bearers, the people who are given responsibility do not want to respond to. You cannot be leading us on. And Kenyans out there, please ask questions. Don't just pick stones and start throwing stones. Don't do that. Ask these questions. What did we do? And you know, for us as Azimio people, but Baba does not even need to pay agents. Baba has got a lot of volunteers. People love Baba. You know, people walk on foot from Kibera to town to see Baba. You don't have to put them in a matatu. People travel to go and vote for Baba. So, mbona tu hawange panga? We cannot have a few people philandering in hotels and moving around. You know, like for example, nini watu walikuwa wanafanya Bomas, bringing their girlfriends at Bomas kuchukua selfie. What did they bring hapo kufanya? What were they doing at Bomas? Kama inafika mara ya mwisho hata verification hatujafanya, hatuna numbers, hatuna kitu yoyote. We don't have figures. Ngilu was announcing some very funny witchcraft. It's only that the media cut her off. I was in a studio at actually in TV. And Ngilu was actually speaking, releasing some very funny numbers. From where? You cannot have numbers from the thin air. So, these questions must be asked and they must be responded to. Because if they do not respond to, we will go to Azimio House and deal with those people there. We will go to ODM and teach those people the fear of God. We will go to Wiper and ask hard questions there. For all those 22 political parties, for those people that were in Azimio House, we will ask these questions. You must respond. They must also come clean. Because politics is a public trust. When you take up leadership, you must be accountable. You cannot be hurting Baba, leading him on. Now Baba, as in, sasa tukaa hapa when they are sitting at KICC, hata mpaka wanatutolea kapeti ya red that we are celebrating. Kwani wanafikiria sisi hatuna roho? Unajua sisi mashabiki ndio tunaumia. Sisi wafuasi wa Baba ndio tunaumia kila siku. Kwa sababu these officials, you know these things are serious. You guys are laughing. These things are serious. These things are very serious. Sisi wafuasi wa Baba ndio tunaumia. Kwa sababu tumekaa hapo kwingine, we are being led on kama watoto tu, and they think we don't have heads. Are we headless? We are not headless people. They lead mpaka wametoa carpet, wametoa hizo vitu zingine zote kumaenda huko kwingine kote. Then all of a sudden Baba is missing. And then tunaona sasa hapo Orengo with a very long face. Autienda Molo hapo nyuma with the Kanchori giving some very funny statement. The first time we realized there was a problem is when Kanchori started saying that Bomas is a crime scene. So, hiyo nayo, by the way, the people in Azimio, the leadership in Azimio, the people who led this campaign will not escape it. Those people will not escape it. They will not even escape it by actually introducing mall concept. Sisi kama mashabiki tunaumia huku kwingine, we have posted, tumepima mpaka nguo za blue, as in we are everywhere, mpaka nyumba tumedecorate blue. Everywhere, blue. Just go and look at my social media before these things happened on Sunday. Just go and see. Kila pahali, they cannot be carrying us like malenge. This one must come to a stop. We will do a proper house cleaning. And by the way, this one, hatutaki ruhusa ya mtu yoyote. Hatutaki ruhusa ya mtu yoyote. This one hata tutaomba Baba ruhusa. People, lazima watu watuambie ni nini walikuwa wanafanya with all those resources. 233,000 votes. We have got over a million people in Western and Nyanza alone who didn't vote or turn up to vote. I have not even added the people in Eastern, Lower Eastern. I have not added the people in the coast. Hapana bwana, hatuwezi kuzungusha siku hiyo, hatuwezi kuzungusha. Alafu tukiuliza hii maswali mnaambiwa nyinyi ni malls. Malls ni nani? Malls ni hao watu walikuwa wanakaa hapo karibu na wanasumbua. Tunaenda Bomas wanazunguka. Twingine hata tulikuwa Bomas na tukapatikana tuko Catholic University.
Ulimataza barabara. Haya, design your video. And the video is coming up because I want you to help us. And they're saying there's a problem with sound, Steve. I don't know. Is it Campbell? Okay.
We reiterate, as we conclude, that there is no doubt from the architecture of the laws we have considered that the people of Kenya did not intend to vest or concentrate such sweeping and boundless powers in one individual, that is the chairperson of the appellant.
We reiterate, as we conclude, that there is no doubt from the architect of the law, we have considered that the people of Kenya did not intend to vest or concentrate such sweeping and boundless powers in one individual.
We reiterate, as we conclude, that there is no doubt from the architecture of the laws we have considered that the people of Kenya did not intend to vest or concentrate such sweeping and boundless powers in one individual, that is the chairperson of the appellant.
We reiterate, as we conclude, that there is no doubt from the architect of the law, we have considered that the people of Kenya did not intend to vest or concentrate such sweeping and boundless powers in one individual.
We reiterate, as we conclude.
You've had it. Yes, you've had the video. So the commissioners are there suddenly giving out a press conference, and Bob also was giving a press conference, and they are reading from the same thing. What were you guys trying to do?
I don't think there's anything out here that is out of place, because they are just citing your citation. If you are reading NIV Bible and you are reading "For God so loved the world" as a citation, you are quoting. I do not expect somebody else to actually have a different one, that "For the devil so loved the world." A citation, they are actually citing a ruling they were reading. That is actually a quotation. So it's not like it's a script from any different place. They were looking at, they cited a portion of the Maina Kiai case, the ruling in the Maina Kiai case. So it's not like that stands out. I think we are reading too much into, there's no conspiracy there. It's just a citation of a ruling, and I don't think that if anyone was citing that was wrong too. If that is the premise upon which people are raising issues, that also is, as in, that's a citation. It's just like reading from the Bible. We read the same thing. In the beginning, God created. As in, there's nothing new around there. Hapo nayo, we are pushing too much. We are splitting hairs.
Kabla sijakuja kwa Muchendu, kuna mswali amesema nikuuliza hapa kabla hatujasahau. Deep state.
Yeah.
Iko. Buru Odunga alituambia finally tuko na system. We have been looking for a system for the longest time. Now we have it. Does it exist? Does deep state exist?
I own this year Land Cruiser at Bomas. And you go maandiko hapo nyuma deep state. But that said, I think systems are made of people. Systems, you know, there's a system that serves all of us, the bureaucracy. That is the government of Kenya. That is why even, I can tell you that even the new PSS that will be appointed to get into the new governments within DP's government, they will actually find a system in their ministries that they cannot break. So a deep state cannot be one universal thing. And if it ever existed, who told you that it cannot win? For example, what you forget is that Kenyans are so rebellious. You don't force anything down Kenyans' throats. President Moi forced Uhuru Kenyatta on us in 2002. He had so many people to choose from, but he chose Uhuru Kenyatta. What did Kenyans do? Kenyans rejected that. Then why Kibaki came first and tried to bring in a constitution we didn't like in 2005. Tukamwambia aenda awashie hiyo Bomas draft yake yo makaa, aenda awashie moto out. Then tukakuja hapa BBI juzi. Tukalazimishwa BBI tukakataa. Says when it actually looked like they actually had framed Raila as a project. Again, now you see how people have voted. Even those who wouldn't have voted were just rebelling. I think Kenyans generally, and now there is a pattern. If you look like you're pushing something down their throat, they just reject. Yeah, of course, that's the beauty of democracy. So, and that's why I'm thinking this deep state thing is a creation of, is a figment of the minds of people. It's a creation of fallacy. I like to call them Majitu story. Because where were they when we were losing with 233,000 votes? Where were they? Where was deep state? Where were they? It doesn't exist. Have you seen them talk? They are not anywhere else.
Maybe they have inaweza kuwa hajaongea. But hii kitu ni kama haijaisha. Inaweza kuwa deep state haijamuka.
Ijamuka aje, you see, in winning an election, let me tell you this. Like I told you, I am not new to politics. I'm not a child. I've even worked for the president in the past, so I know. What I'm saying is this. If you're going to rig an election, you don't rig during the election. You rig before an election, right? Everybody knows that. And everybody loves a decisive victory, right?
Yes.
So, as in, where have we been? We've heard about this deep state and everything else. If deep state is just about siphoning money, if deep state is just about threatening people and abuse of state organs like security agencies and stuff, then I don't think that is a deep state that is real. In other spaces like the US, deep state is actually a self-existing phenomenon. They know how they work around these things. They control the politics and not even the players themselves. So, in Kenya's framework, I think what we just have are rent seekers, extortionists, na mikora ingine inakaa huko na wanajiita kwao ni deep state. Deep state is talked about, it doesn't talk about itself. It's just like being a hacker. As in, you don't have to be caught. As in, people will realize something happened here after you have gone. So, deep state in other places doesn't talk about itself, doesn't address the media. It doesn't talk about itself. You know, deep state is like being a woman. You don't have to say you are a woman.
You can see it.
If you have to say that you are a woman, then you are not. So hii deep state yenye kwa kila pahali inatangaza vile hiyo ni deep state na kila pahali hiyo ni deep state gani?
Finally, Azimia is going to, they say they're going to Supreme Court. Do they have a case? Azimia have a case?
I don't think they say they were going to the Supreme Court. This is what Baba said. Baba said that he will pursue all constitutional and legal options. In seeking redress. He also said that the results as declared by Chebukati are null and void and therefore should be quashed by a court of law. So the first option he has is that for purposes of challenging the results, the presidential results, the only court that actually deals with that is the Supreme Court. Then, of course, there are other issues that have been raised and they have got avenues, like going to the High Court to review Chebukati's conduct, for example. If Azimio feels like they are dissatisfied with how Chebukati conducted his business, that you can actually deal with it in the High Court. You don't need to go up there. Two, number three, and you forget this, is that he talked about constitutional and legal means. Picketing and doing demonstrations. All those are actually constitutional and legal, not illegal. So he left it wide open. There's so much he can do. Of course, he said that he will not talk about strategy at this particular level. Yeah, so I don't think he's limited to the Supreme Court. There's the option of the High Court, especially in dealing with the person of Chebukati, his conduct and everything else. You can go and have a judicial review over that. The other options about engaging the people directly, because the people can, the people including we in Azimio can actually do our things the way we wish. Yeah.
I saw Robert Alai said that there's no problem. The 4 commissioners are going to swear in Baba.
Again, those are some of the issues that I actually was speaking about. You look at the law and it's only the returning officer who is the chairperson. Actually, the person who swears in the president. And let me just surprise you. Do you know that we don't need even the president on the swearing-in day? I need to actually make that so clear so that people out there do not even do not fantasize with some funny things. You know, tuachane na story ya Majitu story ya kuambiwa, oh, the president will not hand over. What does he hand over? That's what the thing is actually symbolic. It is symbolic. It is the registrar who swears in the president-elect into becoming president. In fact, on the day of swearing in, the outgoing president doesn't say anything. He comes silently, sits down there, and the process continues with the Chief Justice, the registrar, and everybody else. They proceed with that particular process, and we only have got... Have you seen this word in the Constitution?
No, I have not seen it.
Have you seen it in any law?
No.
Even in the Act of Parliament?
No.
Even a guideline? Have you seen where they say that then you hand over the sword? Who said that? The state is self-succeeding. It doesn't matter whether the president will be there or not. Okay. Even if he actually chooses not to be there, the process will just go on. I'm just saying, just in case, as in if we will not have a runoff. So if you, by anything that he will not hand over, as who? Okay. We are a country of the law, of the rule of law. So eventually, once this thing is settled in court and everywhere else, the president has no option but to do what?
To hand over.
To hand over. That process, by the way, is self-executing. No one can stand in its way. That is why even when these 4 commissioners tried to become a stumbling block, Chebukati proceeded. And by the way, we should never allow our vote to be subjected to a vote. You cannot have a referendum over a vote. When it comes to the hierarchy of decision-making in this country, and I say that because today, it could actually look like it was to favor somebody who's closer to me. But then tomorrow it could be me. You cannot allow people to vote over our vote. What kind of thinking is that when the Constitution says that all sovereign power belongs to the people? Sasa these seven jamas who cannot even get 0.01% correctly, how are we to allow them to vote over our vote? What were they supposed to vote over? From 34C? Yeah. What were they exactly supposed to make a decision over? And you get people saying that they will swear in Baba. The law says the returning officer, who is the chair, does all that process and hands over the certificate to
the winner.
To the winner. It doesn't talk about the commissioners. In fact, these guys are not even commissioners. These are Omu commissioners. As in strange guys. You saw them at Serena, and that is not the kind of... Kenya has got better people who could actually be there. We need to sweep that house called IBC clearly. There is Operation Clean IBC. That anniversary towers needs to be cleaned. As in IBC has got better staff. I am actually afraid for the staff of IBC. Proper professionals being led by such like people. That is terrible. So, wachana na hiyo that is bad talk. Hiyo stories za walevi. Hata walevi ni afadhali.
Muchendu, good morning.
I would finish and say it's not even worthy of bad talk. When you hear, I mean, somebody in his own good mind crafted such a statement for Baba. It's unfortunate. When the Baba says that, his main argument was that every decision in IEBC will either be taken when all of them agree or through a vote. My friend, the general election is not part of what is done in the boardroom by the IEBC. The reason why we go to... In any case, if that was the case and that argument Baba has is what he will take to Supreme Court, we already know the outcome of the Supreme Court, because I'll tell you, at the polling station where you voted, because I'm certainly you voted.
Yes, I did.
The person who has been given the responsibility over that vote, tallying, counting, and announcing, it is the presiding officer. Yes. You realize that in that polling station, you got clerk who is making people line up, the clerk who check your name at the King's Kit, the clerk that is going to crack out the ballots for you, the clerk that will put that ink after you vote, all those. There is quite a number of people in that polling station. But the only person who has legal responsibility in that entire station, it is the presiding officer. And in fact, today as I'm talking, one of the presiding officers in Keno HDM primary messed up with the votes. He is going to court today. Because it is his responsibility as the presiding officer over that particular polling station. You go to the constituency tallying center, the person who bears responsibility despite that station having over 20 people, it is the returning officer, the constituency returning officer. If anything went wrong, the only person who can face jail time, it is the returning officer. You move on to the county headquarters, the IEBC headquarters, the CRO, the county returning officer, bears responsibility of everything that happens in that polling station, tallying station. And when you come to the president, the only person with a legal mandate and with a responsibility, it is the presidential returning. I mean, people understand, Chebukati was not announcing that result as the chairman. He was not. He was announcing the presidential results as the presidential returning officer, he bears all the legal responsibility of anything he does. And I'll take you back so that these commissioners can stop taking us for a ride. The Supreme Court case, the presidential Supreme Court case in 2013, the presidential Supreme Court in 2017. Look at it. Who is the first respondent? It is the IEBC. In this case, my brother will tell you, when they say the IEBC, they don't mean the IEBC, the commissioners. They mean the IEBC, the secretariat, because it was the one that was tallying the results. Respondent number 2, it is the chairman of the IEBC in his capacity as the presidential returning officer. Respondent number 3, of course, it is the person who won and who was declared the winner. There is nowhere in the legal framework of going to actually contest the result where you will say that the commissioners were not involved in a decision. The only decision that was valid in this election is the one you and I made at the ballot. And Chebukati as the presidential returning officer, and I would say this, my brother, whoever told the Honorable Raila Odinga to quote the Maina Kiai case misread him. You know what was the Maina Kiai case all about, Bitok? It was a case of where Maina Kiai accused the chairman of manufacturing results. In fact, Maina Kiai was actually arguing in court that the results announced at the polling stations are final. This is what Chebukati has done. Every result he has announced has been announced with finality and totality at the polling station. And therefore, when you tell Baba to quote a case which was actually opposite of what he was saying, because Maina Kiai was accused, the chairman then, of producing and manufacturing results that were not announced at the polling station. In this case, the Baba is quoting a case that the Wafula Chebukati was supposed to have announced a decision that was reached by the commission. And he continues to say that 4 commissioners did not actually agree with the result. You and I will be talking, my brother. We can decide to go to that portal and download every Form 34A available, and we would know the results.
That's what actually we did.
This is it. So where does the decision of the so-called 4 commissioners come from? And then this woman, somebody needs to teach her some good mathematics. In her argument, she argues that she does not understand why Chebukati said Ruto won how many, 25% in how many counties? And Raila won. Yeah, it is in the statement. I can actually quote that statement. She was arguing that the numbers of the counties, Raila got 25%, and the numbers of the counties, William Ruto got, they don't tally up because we only have 47 counties. And then you ask yourself, with all honesty, does IEBC need people who are dumb like this to read them? I understand that Chelele was an ECD teacher from what we are looking at her history. Then I think we need to track everybody who went through her class and correct some of the anomalies she may have taught them. Because when you talk about 25%, everybody can get 20. Most likely, even Wajakoya or this Wahiga could have gotten 25% in the 25 counties. And Ruto would have gotten it, Raila would have gotten it, because you do not sum up the 25% into, because if you talk about 29 and 33, and according to her argument, it will give you counties that do not exist. But she should know that in this Nairobi, both Raila Odinga and William Ruto got 25%. If you go to other counties, they both got 25%. So this is not about adding up who got what 25%. It is looking at the minimum requirement of the law. And it is very unfortunate that these are the commissioners. And then what beats me, Bitok, if today, Bitok, I told you my brother is a winner and he has gotten 25 votes, and my brother here is the run-up and he has gotten 21 votes, if you do not agree with that tally, aren't you supposed to have a different numbers talking about a different result? That's the logics. That if you think my numbers are not right, you ought to have your numbers that are correct. We have 4 IBC commissioners who are disputing the results with nothing to show. You ask them, if these numbers are not correct, where are the correct numbers? They don't have any correct numbers to show. And this actually brings out, and it is not lost in my mind, that these 4 commissioners were the ones that were the last to be appointed to IEBC by His Excellency, the President. And photos have now emerged of Chelele. Anaitwa Chelele. What's the name? What's the correct name? Chelela. Photos have emerged of Chelela with Mombasa 001 and Baba in the coast, in the office of the governor. And the question begs, what exactly was she doing with politicians who have vested interest in this election? And therefore, I think for me, I was expecting that Baba would accept the results and retire honorably, because he is a statesman, and I think he has reached his apex. And when you reach apex, you need to exit in an honorable manner. There are people who are pushing him, and in the statement of Baba, even my brother would tell you honestly, I'm trying to look at exactly what they intend to take to the Supreme Court. I can't find it, because let me tell you, there's one thing Chebukati did. Neither you nor I know the government knew he was going to open the servers. He just uprooted all the Form 34 is there and the Form 32B is there. And therefore, that is what that matters most. That the results, and when you hear the commissioners talk about opaqueness, I don't know where the opaqueness is coming from. But I also, there's a friend of mine who has told me this morning, Bitoke. Sasa amejua there are only 2 systems that exist in your life. Your digestive system and your respiratory system. Hakuna system ingine.
So let me back into respiratory system and digestive system. All right. Interesting. Okay. Speaking about going back to Central Kenya. Central Kenya, of course, there are people say that the voter turnout was very low. I don't know how true that is. But yeah, tell us about Central Kenya.
Well, it was expected that without majorly a presidential candidate from the mountain, which has been the norm in the past, it was going to be a tall order to get everybody to vote. But the fact that we got about 60% coming out to vote, it is an achievement for us. Okay. I am one proud member of the Gema community today. The reason being that for the very first time in our history, we have endorsed someone who doesn't come from our region. And we have not just endorsed him. Okay. We have practically given him every right to be our leader. And when you look at it, we have given the Honorable William Ruto has received 2.9 million out of the 7.1 million we talk that the Honorable Ruto has gotten to make him the president-elect. 2.9 million is from the Kikuyu community or the mountain that has overwhelmingly, well, you have seen Baba for the very first time has hit 800,000 votes from the mountain. And when you compare and contrast the 2 results, you would realize that the mountain was speaking in one voice. And it was very harboring that particular moment when one Wafula Chebukati declared William Ruto as the president-elect of this country. And I come from the Muru constituency, where we gave William Ruto over 45,000 votes. And we are so proud that those votes counted. Okay. We were praying to the nail that the mountain doesn't find itself in opposition. And do you know, we have also diluted this analogy by the deep state, if it exists, that the UDA party belongs to the Rift Valley people. Bitoka, are you aware that today the biggest number of elected people do not with UDA don't come from Rift Valley? They come from the mountain. Okay. Take a case study of Murang'a County. Every available is in one party called UDA. Every available governor, senator, women led MPs, all the MCAs, they are there. When you go to Nyeri County, we missed the whisk by 3 seats. Every other available seat from governor going down, it is the UDA party. When you go to come to Kiambu, 11 members of parliament out of 12, they belong to UDA, and surprisingly, even the one that got away did not go to Jubilee or Azimio. It went to an independent candidate. When you look at the composition of the Kiambu County Assembly, 45 out of 60 MCS belong to the UDA party. So that tells you that this mountain was determined to make William Ruto the president. And we have legitimately become an integral part of this government. Whatever William Ruto will be planning as the president, the mountain for the very first time, and I told you this before the election, that for the very first time we are going to get an opportunity for us to negotiate for the mountain. The other times we have always been using the Mutuetu syndrome. No negotiation, no nothing. But today, if we sit on that table where the national cake is being betalk, we can sit with our heads high that we did not only elect William Ruto, we urinated the entire mountain for the sake of prosperity of Mount Kenya. And therefore, I stand here or sit here, whichever comes first, as a proud member of the mountain, that we did not just give a promise to William Ruto, we delivered on that promise. And let me tell you, one of the things that I had feared, and I shared my concerns here, is that if the two succeeded in splitting the mountain, we would have ended up with like Rohia guys who were split into so many functions. But thank God, this mountain still has spoken in one voice. We have spoken in 2.9 million votes given to one individual. It is a clear indication that we have no doubt in our mind. You are the man we wanted to vote, and you have no other choice but to deliver for the mountain, because in one accord it has come behind you and it has made you the president.
All right. So that's Central Kenya for you from Muchendu. Muchendu Central Kenya has made a statement. It spoke what it wanted. Meanwhile, please confirm that the sound is better now. Confirm that sauti iko sawa. Bunge la Mwananchi pia iko wazi. Nambari ni 0779-800-010. Bunge la Mwananchi liko wazi 0779-800-010. Ama watu wa Safaricom 0727919322. Bunge liko wazi. Nambari ni 0779-800-010. Ama 0727919322. 727-919-322. 779-800-010 or 727-919-322. Bunge la Mwananchi liko wazi. Unaweza kupiga simu kuweza kuchangia mjadala wa leo. Okay. Let me see. Na kuna nambari zimeanza kuingia tayari. Right, good morning. Please have your headphones on, gentlemen. Kidogo shikilia, usikate tu, shikilia hapo. Nilikuwa nimesahau kumbe sijaweka maneno huku kibandi. Don't disconnect, please. Just hold on. Just hold on the line. So on the line, please.
Yes. I think I think one of the things that I must say I'm very happy about Bitok. We are now, today, is it 8 days now after we voted?
Haya, ameingia. Good morning, sir. Bunge la Mwananchi.
Hey, good morning bwana JB. JB, mambo namna gani?
Salama sana boss, mambo vipi?
Mzuri kabisa. Kwanza nirudishe pongezi na shukrani kwa wananchi wa Kenya kwa kupiga kura, na pongezi kwa rais elect Professor Dr. William Samoei Ruto. Okay. Back to the kwa hiyo nilikuwa tu niongee vitu kidogo hapa. Kitu ya kwanza ningependa pia kurudisha shukrani sana kwa profesa ule wetu hapa wa lawyer daktari anaitwa nani? Ojwang. Unaona Gerald, mimi nakwambia hii kipindi yako unatakiwa upromote sana because this is a very neutral station na inatoa watu wa maana sana. Look at the panelists that you have. Sikia vile huyo jamaa ambaye anasema ni wa Azimio anaongea. Very very sober and very anaelezea watu kwa vitu ya kawaida. Angalia kama nini Kajwang ile aliongea kwa NTV. Imekuwa na views ngapi? And this is our own guy hapa ambayo wewe ulimtambua na scouts wako ukamtoa kule ukakuwa unamweka hapa. And now anacheza national huko kwa kupatia wengine lecture mpaka wanakaa kama watu hawajui. So jaribu sana kuangalia kwamba this station is moving from being kama in a respectful way from being like a blogger. We promote ikue kabisa wapa ndio kwa wale watu wanakuja kuchukua information ambayo ni reliable kwa sababu inatoa watu wanakuja. Kitu ya pili niingie kwa results. Results hizi watu wanasema sijui nini, there's a lot of talk. This portal has been open. Kila mtu aone kila kitu ambayo iko hapo, chukua calculator, fanya hesabu. Ukishindwa, Lonyangapu anasema kana mama yako. Kweli? Haya, tuingie maneno ya deep state. It's very sad Gerald kwamba watu wanasema deep state and it's very sad that Azimio depended on it kwamba deep state will help them. I've said before, remember nilianzisha jina ya deep state because kwa sababu hakuna deep state iko hapa. Ile deep state iko hapa Kenya ni mchezo tu because hauwezi kuwa na deep state ya kutumia watu KRA, polisi and you're calling yourself deep state. Watu wanakuteka. It's aibu, ni sad sana kwa sababu nchi zingine kama hapa Amerika mahali kuko na deep state. Deep state is a well organized, hata huwezi kujua vile inafanya kwa sababu well organized. Kama ni ya election kama hii. It is not at wakati wa kupiga bomas huko mnaenda kupiga chairman. Inakuwa imepangwa mbele, hata hakuna mahali ya result iko. Watu wamepanga wakajua what is required. Hata candidates wenyewe don't even know because then they know what they want and they plan ahead. From kuanzia huko campaign, even before campaign, they plan that. Na unakuta for example kama ni deep state kwa sababu deep state iko kama ya kila mahali, ya kila kitu. For example kama food hapa unakuta kuna deep state ambayo inahusika na distribution, growth, planning and reserve and all that. Well elaborated. Kwa sababu sasa inaingia mpaka kwingine mpaka anyway. Wachana na hiyo. Deep state hiyo ya Kenya ni mchezo tu na watu wanatuchekelea tu kama wale wanajua wote deep state. Tuingie kufanya what is required now after this. Mimi kulingana na maoni yangu. Ningesema baba amefanya kazi yake mzuri. Atajaribu tu kunegotiatiwa package yake ya retirement akiwa na powers fulani ama na privileges fulani. Awache kubeba watu wengine ambao wanamuangusha. Hii group ako naye mingi ndio inamuangusha. Kwa sababu sasa yeye alipigania watu hao walikuwa wajuzi. Wote ni green horns wanakuja kumbebesha mzigo. Huyu mzee ana miaka yake inaendelea kutoka na yeye anabebeshwa mzigo. Na watu wengine ambao wanaongea vitu za ajabu. For example huyo panelist wako amesema hapo. Ukiuliza watu maswali wanaanza kusema wewe ni mall. How do you depend kwa utapush mtu kando kwa kumwambia ni mall wakati anakuambia very legitimate question. Because watu ambao wanawaangusha baba ni kwa sababu ya watu ambao wanawabeba ambao hawana experience ya politics ama hawana interest mzuri yake. Na huyu ni mzee amefanya kazi ambayo imetusaidia sana kama nchi. Mahali tumefika ameplay part kubwa. Kwa hivyo awache kubeba watu wengine wamsukumange kotini kwa vitu ambayo hakuna. Mahali imefika wacha tu asaidiwe, angaliwe tu ni wapi atapata privileges, akae tu vile anataka kukaa mpaka miaka yake bila kukua kusukumwa na hao watu wengine ambao wako na interest ambayo ni za baadaye. Ndio vile ningesema. Asante sana Gerard.
Thank you so much. Asante sana na usalimia watu wa New Jersey. Ambaye tunakuja. Tunangoja visa. Tunakuja. The new dispensation.
Sawa. Mpaka 2024 saa hizi.
Yes, asante Tiganga. 0779-800-010, 0779-800-010. Bunge la Mwananchi liko wazi. Nambari ni 0779-800-010, 0779-800-010. Bunge iko wazi. Nambari ni 0779-800-010. Kuna simu tengine nimekosa kidogo ya muungwana mwingine hapo lakini sawa. Utaendelea kupiga aya. Julius Titus Skip anasema the real enemies of Raila are Orengo and Otiende Amolo. Where were they during campaigns but now they need money to go to court? Okay, Amos Bogo tuned in from the city of Nottingham, UK. Thank you so much, the guys from diaspora, especially the UK, America, United States of America, and also watu wa Australia. Watu wa Australia, you always the best sound. Anasema iko sawa. Kimsema sauti iko sawa. Mili Jerome, good to see you. Good morning. Anasema sound iko fresh. As no Sami KKA should poach this man into the team. He got knowledge. Okay, let's get better about imeenda chini. Haya, watu wa sauti wamesema iko chonjo. Watu wa YouTube wanasemaje? Good morning, my YouTube particast. Now, good morning, Gerald Nando. Good morning to you. There's no real problem with the election. The results at the polling station is what counts as per the previous ruling. Joseph Kathura, listening to you live from the States. Asante sana, thank you. Because the glaring issue for me is the murder of the Embakasi East Arrow, Mr. Musyoka. By the way, I think we really need to pick on that. Good morning. Bungala Mwenyenchi. Bungala Mwenyenchi, mambo vipi?
Hey, vipi. Gerard, how are you?
Salama sana, boss. Good morning.
Good morning. This is Isaac kutoka Seattle hapa.
Oh, watu wa Seattle.
Yeah, sisi ni kufurahi tu. Tumefurahia vile uchaguzi imeenda. Ilikuwa with a lot of peace, very efficient. Okay. Ni ile tu kumalizia hiyo ndio tu at least haikuwa mzuri, haikuwa na show mzuri. Otherwise, just to congratulate Kenyans and for whatever they did, that was a very good show. So I want to thank you very much for the panelists you're having. I don't know the guy who you said is a new guy.
It's called ARNOLD MALIBA.
He has, yes, he has a very, very solid and very sober argument. And I would like to encourage you in your show, kind of have you balance what pande mbili. And whatever vile anaongea, I wish that is what Azimio we are relying on, because I totally agree with him. Baba was let down. I feel sad for him. Nikimwona amekaa hapo anasukumwa tu enda kotini, enda Supreme Court. When you really listen to the arguments, lakini wale watu wote wamemzunguka hapo, they have actually used his name to get elected. Okay. So that is one thing. Then the other thing, you talked about the voter turnout, especially in Central Kenya.
Yes.
I also looked at it, and I kind of think that the state of the economy, the way it is, and how Jubilee government kind of let the people down. Watu walikuwa wamefika mahali wameona why should we even vote? Case in study, Uhuru was voted like the second term 2 times. But I think generally the people of Central Kenya, and that's why they voted against Uhuru. Anything that Uhuru tried to push through, it was a rebellion vote. So they feel like Uhuru really let them big time. Okay. My last point would be how Azimio were so reliant with the deep state, what you are calling I do it in quotes because I don't believe anymore in that deep state. Okay. And, the government to do everything for them, it's astonishing that they even did have a turning center. I hear they didn't even have agents. That's kind of, that was a joke, If you see what the opponents, the Kenya Kwanza, the way they had organized for it, they were pretty serious about it. They were not leaving anything to chance. So I don't know why they relied so much on the government or TV stations to do their telling. I think what that guy has said, the people who were running Baba's campaign are the ones who have cost him this election. Otherwise, very happy and very good panelist. Keep it up.
Thank you so much, my brother. Asante sana. Salimia watu wa Seattle.
Okay. Asante.
Thank you, bro.
Okay.
Bye. All right. Bungala Mwenyenchi 0779 800 010 or 779 800 010. Bungala Mwenyenchi liko wazi 0779 800 010. Okay. Arnold. Unasikia maneno?
Yes. I think pale penye tumefika kama Kenya, we must then be people who can talk to each other. We are maturing. Of course, Kenya is rated as a mid-range performing democracy. And what we see here are the normal mechanics of politics. We even saw Trump attempt that. There will always be bad-mannered individuals. That does not give it a collectivity of all the people. When Trump was throwing tantrums, pulling a January 6th with a few other people, extremists with him, getting onto the Capitol Hill, on the Capitol, raiding on elected leaders. It's common. We are going to have this. These blots keep on showing up once in a while, and it means that there's still work to do, because unfortunately, the price of liberty, and sometimes I replace liberty with democracy and just say the price of democracy is eternal vigilance. If we ever just take one wink, we could actually be back to where we didn't want to be. So there will always be need for people to stand up and defend democracy. But over and above, we just need to continue talking to each other. It's important for us to talk to each other as a people. We outside there, the people outside there, talk to each other on social media. It's only during such times that our communications online probably are quite laced with a little bit of passion and everything. But generally, we talk to each other very well. We defend each other. We have got each other's back. And going forward, we have got a country to build. We have got an economy to repair. We have got children to take to school. We have got lives to live and the progress to actually further. So
let's listen to this gentleman. And then, Mheshimiwa Jules.
Yes, sir.
Mambo vipi?
Salama sana.
Pongezi bwana, ulijaribu.
Asante sana. Good morning. Salimia gavana sana, na mimi na ARNOLD wale wenye ambition zetu zilipostponiwa to 2020.
Besalimika.
Victory was postponed.
Sasa bro, I have to congratulate Aslam and this guy, yeah? This guy has done a good job. So congratulations to both. Sababu wale watu waliwachwa pande ingine walikosa strategy. Watu wazimio wachukua na strategy kabisa. And then our team Kenya Kwanza took advantage of that part. And they did a very good job. Number two, just to appreciate Kenyans for how peaceful they have been. Enyewe Kenya ni kukorogwa tunakorogago. Sasa tumemaliza uchaguzi and we are peaceful. Watu wamerudi hustle. Hakuna kani kama hatukuwa na uchaguzi. That is the best thing to be for this country. Mwisho, wale watu wameshinda. Wanakalia viti. We are watching on them. We are looking at them proper. We will hold them accountable. Wale wenye tululu kama sisi, we are going to be responsible oversight. Na mwisho kwa our deputy president, who is now the president-elect. Kenyans are watching him. They have a lot of hope in what he promised and his manifesto. We will be watching for the first 2 years. Atakuwa amewekwa kwa checklist just to make sure he has kept his word. So otherwise we have a government now and we can move forward.
Haya, sasa ile baki.
Kutane tumalize ile maneno. Juzi umekuja mahali hapo na ukaepa. Kutane tumalize hiyo kazi.
Sasa tutumie yenye ile baki kwa wananchi. Hata sisi ni watoto ya watu tukule.
Nyang'anya ARNOLD kwanza. Nyang'anya Maliba kwanza ile.
Waacha hiyo mambo bwana. Weka kitu.
Alikuwa anatulisha hapa. Najua wewe ulikuwa unajificha. Wewe ni mheshimiwa ulikuwa unajificha.
Mheshimiwa
amekuwa hapo, tumekula ARNOLD, tumekula kule ARNOLD.
Mheshimiwa. Bana, wacha hiyo mambo bana. Sanitize mpesa bwana. Unajua, you know.
Fuliza ARNOLD ile situation tuko wale wenye tumejaribu kukalia kitu na ikakataa. Tumeacha mahali tu tukipanga kazi.
Sawa, we live to find another day.
No, sure, bro. We will. But we are very happy as a country. Na sasa hata ile kitu kingine hapo nilikuwa nataka kusema bro, hata nimesahau. Our commissioners were honestly. They are an embarrassment to this country. Wanafanya press conference ya 20 minutes and they tell us a lot of nothing. I mean, it doesn't make sense, man. Tuishi poa, tumalize Chebukati afanya kazi yake amemaliza. Na wakiturudisha rera. Honestly, you can write this. We are going to William Ruto is going to win with 12 million votes.
12 million?
Wakenya wamechoka bana. Yes, Wakenya wamechoka. Wameamua maisha iendelee vile iko.
12 million votes.
12 million.
Okay.
That's me. Kenyans are going to rebel against Raila Odinga. He should go home now peacefully. na Wakenya watamheshimu.
Asante.
Asante, Mungu awabariki.
Thank you ndugu yangu, asante. Haya, msikia maneno. Tukiana sorry, I had to distract you. Pole, tunafunga bunge, turudi hapa kwenye studio. Haya, Arnold, you are talking. Disrupted you. And what is interesting, Kenyans have just moved on, bana. Kwani Wakenya siku hizi hawataka kupigania watu?
As in,
I mean, they have moved on. I mean, like,
the one thing Kenyans know is that life moves on. And a lot of even the demonstrations you saw out there were crimes of opportunity. They had nothing to do with the passions. The real people who actually were pained stayed indoors. Wale supporters wale wenyewe, a few people wale ulikuwa unaona kama wananyang'anya watu, wanapiga mawe hizo zenye uliona kidogo hizo, those were criminals of opportunity. They actually saw an opportunity to actually just commit crime. But a majority of Kenyans have actually gotten to a point where they know that we have got a robust system. It can defend itself. When there's a mistake, eventually it will be corrected. And that fighting your neighbor doesn't even begin to make sense. The handshake in itself taught us that there's no enmity in politics. That is a contest that people are in. And I have never seen a civil war between Arsenal and Manchester United in this country where people pick up stones. And that is actually a more passionate game. People even bet, they put in their money and everything else. But there is never a civil war. So people realize that, whoever wins, by the way, at the end of the day, has got that duty, constitutional duty to take care of all of us. That whoever wins becomes the president of everyone. And them that have won out, they are going to parliament. You become a member of parliament for all of us. You are not a member of parliament for yourself, an MCA the same, for those who voted for you and those who didn't vote for you. So the moving on part of it is part and parcel of maturity. It has nothing to do with fatigue. It's not like Kenyans are tired. It's maturity.
Maturity.
It's maturity.
We have finally become
we have finally understood the Constitution 2010. That the architecture of that Constitution is such that anyone, this one is like what wanafanya interview. The person you have left out who doesn't come and take over the job is not an enemy. It's just that he wasn't cut or didn't qualify to come in. But whoever comes in has to work for all of us. As in, the moving on, the calm, the peace you see has nothing to do with people getting fatigued. If anything, they still are pursuing, they are still thinking, asking questions, but they know that this is a competition and that whoever wins by the end of the day, you know, when we go to an election, what it's supposed to be? It is for the candidate with the best ideas. And the one who can convince us to actually get a short-term reign onto the controls of the state. So in the management of public affairs, the person who gets in there is not serving a different people, but there's just going to be a fallout soon in Kenya Kwanza. Let me just surprise you, because you're going to find a lot of, there are so many people who expect so much from William Ruto, for example. So if everything remains as is, William Ruto actually has got a headache to ensure that he takes care of everybody. Mount Kenya is there. People are there waiting. People like Moses Kuria who lost. There are so many other people. In the service party, for example, only one person won a seat. All the others are hoping that since we stood with the winning side, they will remember us. Just like the thief on the right hand side of Jesus. He said, ukifika kwa ufalme wako unikumbuke. Everybody else is sending in a message to William Ruto, unikumbuke. So, William Ruto is at a very difficult position. That's why actually I don't think he's actually sitting pretty. Already jobs are filled. There is no vacant position. The only vacant position were the 1882, the 1,882 that we were filling. So when you get in, the parastatals have got boards, ambassadors' positions are filled. A few contract jobs here and there are actually failing vacant. But William has got thousands and thousands of people who are expecting something from him. So what happens? So you see what is happening in Azimio this side, the lamentations and everything else, that is the mourning of the vanquished. But then there's going to be hue and cry on the other side as they fight over the spoils that are not enough. Because the state si kubwa vile. Every time unajua when you are running, like sisi naambiwa, support so and so hii kitu ni kubwa, kuna space. Hakuna space. The state is like a rabbit. When people chase it, they think it's an elephant. Once you sit, you get the seat, you realize hii kitu ni squirrel. Haitoshi kila mtu. In fact, kiti ni moja tu, inatosha tu mtu mmoja, haitoshagi watu wawili. So, the better we realize that, the better for all of us. The earlier we realize that, the better for all of us. So, This hue and cries haiko tu side moja. Whatever side wins, itakuwa tena na kilio hiyo side
Itakuwa na
nyingine.
kilio tofauti.
Yeah.
Haya. Nyinyi Mshendu, nasikia pia mnaenda kotini. Nasikia hata nyinyi mko na Supreme Court tuko kweli. Aina wa Jango amesema kura zilivurutwa. I don't know. And he is contesting Wamatangi's win. Was your candidate actually?
Well, yes, Wamatangi was my candidate. And we thank God that we won. And we, on 25th of this month, the Honorable Kimani Wamatangi is set to be sworn in as the 4th governor of Kiambu. Now, this story of Wainaina Wajango is very interesting because you forget the nonsense he is propagating around. You just need to look at the backdrop of the entire story. One, Wainaina Wajango is he lost at the nominations, Jubilee nominations in 2017. Called a presser and people and crowd cried so much that the people of Thika had they had they felt for him and they made him an independent member of parliament with a very slight win. Fast forward to 2022, Wainaina Wajango joins UDA, propagates the ideas of UDA, and a few months he then leaves and joins another village party. Works with that village party for like 1.5 months. Realizes that village party is not going to go where. Then bang, Wainaina Wajango comes back to UDA and participates in the nomination, which involved Muturi Wanduthi, Kimani Wamatangi, and himself. Kimani Wamatangi fraud him in the nomination with a very convincing win. There was a difference of almost, I think, 50% in the resulting of the nomination results. There goes again, Wainaina Wajango calls a press conference and speaks of massive rigging in UDA. Apparently, he has never seen such a rigging, what. And then Wainaina Wajango gone out of UDA to become an independent candidate. Now, all this time he is doing this drama, he doesn't have the money to move around. He does not even have teams on the ground. He does not have, because you know, Bitok, I'm very sure, because I'm your friend, you have been involved in crafting a strategy that has won someone a governor's seat. I know. So you understand the weight and the nitty-gritties of the governor's seat. So you cannot operate without teams everywhere. And Wainaina Wajango did not have the muscles to do that before nomination. But this is the surprising thing. Wainaina leaves UDA to become an independent candidate. Wainaina is from Gatondo North. He's born in Gatondo North, though he is a member of parliament for Thika Town. Then Wainaina, you realize, I'll give you an example. If you look at Kotimoja Rafiki Yako, he has picked a deputy governor from the other side of the county, so that you can strike a balance. But surprisingly, Wainaina Wajango just walks next door and goes to the Kenyatta family and picks Nyokavi Gadesha, who was the first Kiambu women rep, as the running mate. He is from Gatondo North, picks a running mate from Gatondo South, just next door. They are like, I think, 15 kilometers apart. And number one, that got us shocked because we would have expected him coming from Thika, and he requires to be voted in Limuru and in Kikuyu and in Kabete. He should have fetched a deputy governor from that side. But we later came to know there is only one catalyst that made him pick Nyokafi Gadesha as the running mate, the money aspect. So Wainaina Wajango, we are aware he was given a very hefty money with the bags by that family that has held this country by the ransom. That family that has propagated the state, what do you call it? The state takeover and the state capture. They financed his campaign and he promised that he would deliver. That is why he could only pick, because when they gave him the money, they demanded that one of them must be the running mate. That is why shamelessly Wainaina Wajango could not pick a deputy governor from the other side called Kiambu West. He picked a member of the Kenyatta family because they were bankloading his campaign. Now, the predicament that he has today, Bitok, the agreement that was if he does not deliver, he has to return every penny. Yes. And this is why he has moved from one polling. You know, on the polling day, he is the only gubernatorial candidate that was going to polling stations, bothering after 5 p.m. You are, as a candidate, you are not supposed to be anywhere near a polling station because it's no longer a polling station, it is a counting station. But this guy was moving around in polling centers where votes were being counted that night. Eventually, that did not work. He started moving to constituency tiring centers, returning some of the returning officers, including the one from Kiamba and the one from Limuru, demanding a recount. Whereas you know that once the votes are counted at the polling station and announced, the only place you can invalidate that announcement is a high court. And therefore, Wainaina Wajango is at problem because he has to return the dirty money he received from that family. He has, number one, to show face because he thinks that if he does what he did during 2017, it's going to work now. So we were just telling Wainaina Wajango, stop marining the name of Kimani Wamatangi. Stop mudslinging Kimani Wamatangi. Kimani Wamatangi is a beneficiary of a system that was well planned. People went to the ballot, voted, votes were counted, they were announced, they proceeded to be tarried, and eventually the CRO, the county CRO, tarried the entire resort and declared Kimani Wamatangi as the governor. Now, if as Wainaina Wajango you feel that you are not satisfied, there is a legal framework that is provided for you to go. Other than hopping from one station to the other, claiming things. I've seen him saying that when he compares the Kim's kit number of those people who voted in Kim's kit and the manual register, they don't tally. Then I asked myself, did he have his own manual register? Because we did not use a manual register to vote. At no time did we use everybody that voted, including yourself, Bitok. You had to be located at the Kim's kit. The Kim's kit are already closed. They are now protected, awaiting anybody who may go to court and may demand them as evidence. Nobody has opened them. They are not open to rogue. How did he end up knowing that he has done what is called comparative analysis to say that the election was stolen? Wainaina Wajango, you must remember that the reason why the Honorable Kimani Wamatangi has been elected, for 16 years, Kimani Wamatangi has run a franchise. It's not only a franchise, the Wamatangi Foundation that has been providing tanks to people, driving community vans for people who want to go to burial, to weddings and everything. He has established a coalition with the residents of Kiambu, and he did not need to campaign so hard to get that seat. Wainaina Wajango, you are barely 5 years as a member of parliament, one that was partyless. Your experience is so inadequate for you to actually come and claim that Wamatangi stole an election. Why do people get this analogy that election is stolen that easy? This is a very rigorous process that has been put by IEBC to ensure that we meet the threshold for us to announce the results that were announced. And Wainaina Wajango must understand this. He must not go out there propagating, because it's essentially he was hoping to get 2 wins. One that might be very impossible in court, and he is also trying to get the moral win and taint the win of the Honorable Kimani Wamatangi. We have called him out. We will not allow him to taint a well-deserved win of Kimani Wamatangi. And I told you that before I joined the Kimani Wamatangi team, I did a very extensive, I have said it on this show, I did a very extensive research on the ground to understand what is it Kiambu people are looking for. And I felt that what Wamatangi is offering is what they were looking for. And eventually, on invitation, I joined the team. And we have run a very above-board campaign. We have not involved ourselves in any business of the IEBC other than what they would require us to do. And if Kimani, Wainaina Wajangu is not satisfied, go lay your claims in court. Go lay your claims in court. Go fight, do the documentation. Please, go to court. That is the provision. Okay. Otherwise, hopping from one TV to the other, trying to taint the image of Kimani Wamatangi will not go unanswered. We will always call you out as the coward that you are. Kindly, if you received that money from somewhere, please pay it in peace. We understand you did not use all of it. And then the most strange thing I would say, you know this guy, you know very well that macadamia don't grow anywhere. They have a specific weather that they grow in because he comes from that field. He's the owner of the Jango Nut company that processes macadamia and Jango nuts. These seedlings do not just grow anywhere. They have a specific weather pattern where they grow. But apparently, he was not giving the Jango nuts to everybody in the county. He was very specific where he was giving them. We have later come to understand that he was also using a campaign to expand the business, the macadamia business, telling people to plant macadamia. Today, if you give me a macadamia seedling, where else will I take those farm produce other than the Jango Nut, because it is the only company that around Kiambu and the mountain dealing with it. So he was also using the campaign platform to expand the company, which is very wrong to use the Kiambu voter to expand your private company, telling them that you are going to help them develop macadamia company. We know this country has 3 companies that deal with macadamia, and all those 3 companies are connected to who is who in this country. So it was very wrong for Wainaina Wajangu to even use the campaign platform to advance a private business using voters who did not know that they were being used. So shame on you, Wainaina Wajangu. Accept that Wamatangi defeated you. Start strategizing on how to oust him on the next election. The Kiambu people do not need that circus. They don't need that nonsense. We just want to move on. Okay. On 25th, the Wamatangi is being sworn in, and we will help him form a government that is going to be inclusive, that is going to change Kiambu. I keep telling you, Bitok, before devolution, Kiambu was one of the fast growing places. The people who have come after devolution have messed this county. Wamatangi, like William Ruto, is going to inherit a pending bill of 5 billion shillings in Kiambu. Okay. Ruto is inheriting a 9 trillion debt. So we have no luxury of time to sit around and run at each other in courts. Right. We have only time to develop Kiambu and make it great again.
All right. Well, because clearly that although as I may have said, we don't have any president-elect at the moment, clearly I think we have one, according to IBC. One William Samoei Ruto. What advice would you give Emmanuel as he sets off?
Go back again to that question.
What advice would you give to William Ruto as it sets off the new government? What advice would you give?
First of all, I need to actually point out this, that the rise of William Ruto to the Republic is very much reminiscent of Julius Caesar's rise to the Republic. The difference between Julius Caesar and William Ruto is that Julius Caesar came from a well-off family, but the rise, there's so much. Sometimes you look at it and you think it's a copy-paste of the other one. Yeah, but as he comes in, I think he should actually avoid the mistakes of Julius Caesar. First of all, he has got quite a coterie of advisors, so it's time when he actually needs advice now. He now has gotten to a position where he actually has to actually listen to advice. And like a king, of course, a king has had all manner of lies. they hear everything. And even politicians of Mchendu will tell you here that you hear all manner of excuses. Mtu hata anataka kukunywa tu anakuambia mtoto wake ni mgonjwa. Wewe mheshimiwa unatolewa. And you know, out of roho yako safi unatoa pesa unatumana. As in they've had everything else. But still that doesn't stop us from seeking the wisdom of other people, the multiplicity, the quality that comes with advice over and beyond what he has with the people he has. He actually has to go out. But the most important thing that I actually need to advise him is that he must be the president of Kenya. Of course, he's president-elect of the Republic of Kenya, but he must be the president of Kenya and not the president of Kenya Kwanza, not the president of Rift Valley, not the president of the Kalenjin, not the president of the Kalenjin and Kikuyus alone, or not the president of those who support him. He must be the president of all of us, because that then will make or break not just him, but also the progress we've made, the Republic itself going forward. Then there is a third thing that I'm actually passionate over. I am not a youth any longer, but I am a youth worker. Of course, I've spent most of my adult life working with and for the youth. I would actually advise him to actually consider the youth of this country. Ensure that it's not just tokenistic approach when he goes out there. It should not be about the trends. It should not be about launching things and pleasing young people at the top when you're not putting money in the pockets of young people. How does he solve that to deal with the youth issue? 5 quick issues. The youth of this country just need access to quality education, training, and skills development. Because at the job market, there are only 2 things you take in as a person, either goods or services. Young people are not in the business of production, so they don't have a lot of goods they take to the marketplace. So they avail themselves, they bring in skills. If you have got a little bit of skills, you get better paid. If you do not have skills, you're unskilled and therefore lipa pesa ingine yote. So access to education, quality education, skills development and training is a very important thing. When I'm talking about his focus to the youth, the other thing is access to market. Young people, including yourself here, have got products we are doing, content creators, they've got things they are doing. The market is actually ridden with cartels and very difficult ways of actually, even where young people have actually they've got a product, they've got a service, there's something they need to offer. The market is very un-youth friendly. So access to market, he needs to ease that. Then access to credit, whether it is Fuliza or whatever. We're talking about credit that can actually ensure that you do business sustainably. Access to credit is a challenge that he must fix if he's going to actually help the youth of this country. Technological transfer. Sisi ni watu wa kujifunza na watu wa kujituma. We don't want to have Chinese coming here to do things we can do. We don't want to see Indians making things we can do. When I was young, I used to joke about unapata Waafrika wanajua kuchonga hiyo kiti ya kiberiti, lakini it's just somehow some Asian who knows how to mix the wax that makes the match stick.
Right up.
Yeah, so that particular bit. So just take caring of the youth issue. There are a few things that I think, especially on the youth issue, he must take care of. He must allow young people to go to elections and to choose their leader at the National Youth Council. He must empower the National Youth Council to become the dream of what that institution was. He was there in the beginning when it started, or rather he knows how it has worked and the challenges it has been. If he actually also wants to actually sort things, he needs to allow young people. He must ensure that young people get a youth ministry, a standalone youth ministry with somebody who knows and is actually passionate about working for the youth. Because if he's going to do the mistakes they did in Jubilee, we will have a lot of things. Jubilee talks about huge money when it comes to youth. But ask the young people out here if they know where Uwezo Fund is. Ask them if the last time they visited the youth office, the youth fund office, if it has got money. Ask them if the National Youth Council speaks for them. Ask them if the Youth Advisory Board speaks for them. So, over and above, he must take care of the youth of this country because those are the people of this country. Those are the energies, those are the hands that keep the cogs of this economy running. And youth poverty easily seeps into lifetime poverty. If young people are poor now, the likelihood that they are going to be poor throughout their lives is actually very high. And that therefore means that then they push on that poverty to their children. We need to cut the cycle of poverty by first of all dealing with these young people at this particular level. Kabla mtu waoe ama kama bado kuna watoto kidogo, we sort that. Fix the youth issue. For me, those are very important things because if I were to talk about the other things, they are obvious. Because this country now, we are only looking at the issues of Article 43. Socioeconomic empowerment, access to health, education, I've already spoken about it, clean water, poverty generally, people not going without hunger na hizo vitu zingine zote. Hizo vitu za Article 43. But luckily from where I sit, I think those things I've mentioned, for me, I am passionate about them and I think they actually have got, they have a big, quite some big space to actually play if he's going to be successful. being president of everyone, taking care of the youth of this country, bringing in people who really matter. I really cannot advise him on the people he wants to bring in the cabinet and everything else. But there are some specific sectors that he has to actually look out for. He was supported by young people through and through. In fact, William Ruto's victory thus far has been on the wings of young people. The hustler nation is not even a nation of older people. It's young people. So he actually should be sensitive to the youth of this country. I don't like how they dealt with the youth under the Jubilee administration. They became too academic. Yeah, Kibaki had already put in place a very functional system. They came, dismantled it, and it has never worked.
Started afresh from nothing.
They dismantled the whole thing. Now you see Musheru, for example, is the minister in charge of youth. As in how many young people feel him or even think that there's anything he's actually helping them with. There's nothing. He needs to make that docket work. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for coming in. Arnold, it's always a pleasure to have you. And let's keep the conversation going, even as this other new government tries to figure out what's going to do. So for those guys who won their seats, we wish you all the very best and take responsibility. Like Arnold has said, you are now the leader of every other person within your jurisdiction, regardless of whether or not they voted for you. The competition is over. It's time to work. For those guys who lost as well, it is not called to lost.
Also, just encourage people out there to reach out to the people who lost.
Yes.
The 14,000 plus people who lost, they have got their own challenges. Elections are grueling. They almost dehumanize people. When people come out of it, that is why you will never see some of them. They have gone and gone forever. Others become very bitter. Others, people even lose their senses. We know people who have actually lost their heads and wakachizi kabisa kwa sababu ya kutoka kwa kura. So remember those guys, be kind to them, pray for them. If you have got relatives, reach out to them, buy them tea. It's not always about them buying tea. Reach out to your if you have got your friend. By the way, let me tell you, during campaign time, aspirants or candidates don't have friends who pick their calls. Of course, people say that baada ya kura viongozi hawashikaki kura zao, as in the voters say that. But I can tell you, during campaigns, ni viongozi tu wana receive simu za watu. Hakuna simu yao ina receiviwa. Kule kwenye wanapiga, the people they want to reach out to, hawashiki simu pia. So, reach out to your friends, pray for them, buy them tea, help them, stabilize them. That is how we get quality leadership. Otherwise, if people go to politics and they come out so bitter and destroyed, then we will not have quality people coming into leadership. We will not attract talent.
All right, that's true. That's it. Reach out to your neighbor. Don't chide them or ridicule them. And that we are all part of a contest and we move on as one country. Also, Wananchi, thank you so much, Wananchi, for being sober. You always told you here on the tackle that the elections will come and go. So thank you so much for being sober and understanding that it's not a contest. Na hakuna haja kupigana ama kupigania watu. Watu wamerudi kazini. I'm seeing Kenyans are working everywhere. Kazi inaendelea. So thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. This has been the Siasa Wednesday edition of the tackle of 17 August 2022. And yeah, you're doing well. And also, I still want to remind you that bado tunauza mashamba. But Optiven is still ensuring that you can get your best deals on properties. Nanyuki is still giving you only 349,000. The Great Oasis. And also, we are doing Malindi as well. You're doing the second phase. Almost moving to the third phase as well at 499,000 only. Pale Optiven.co.ke, make up choice of your properties. Alafu anza kulipia pole. Jen Mikala anasema the tackle is very good. Youth empowerment, you are energetic to push up the economic scale in this country. Thank you so much for rooting in for us and for always supporting us and speaking for us every single time that we come live. It's always a pleasure to have you. And every time I meet you, I tell you that without you, the tackle could never be. And thanks for all the guys who keep stopping us. Hey, watch you, tunakufollow. It's always a pleasure to have you. Ukiniona barabarani pia, niambie haru, nisalimie. Alafu tunaanza kupangana zaidi. It's been a pleasure. Until tomorrow on the Diaspora Edition. I wish you a very good day. Mjumuika na Kenajua Larama kesho kwenye Diaspora Edition. Alafu mweze kuchapa. Thank you so much, Arnold, for coming in.
Thank you very much.
All the very best. This is the tackle. It ends now. Have a good day. Bye-bye.